We'll be getting started here soon. In the meantime, get comfortable. everything, everything. You are everything to me. Everything, everything. You are everything to me. Everything, everything. You are everything to me. Hold on, it's not going to work, is it? Welcome to the 1111 podcast. Let's all start with a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Welcome to this live edition. If you are catching this, we are live on the YouTube platform. Shout out to YouTube. Thank you for this platform, this configuration, opportunity, etc. And we are continuing the journey here at the 1111 podcast, continuing the journey of the, I almost said the 7 deadly sins, the 9 fruits of the Spirit. We will be definitely getting into that now. I mentioned on the last recording that this would be a live recording for those who wanted to join the platform, the podcast. The actual audio will be airing wherein it typically airs, but this is when the live recording is happening. So grateful for all who join, grateful for all who can make it, and even for those who can't. So this live recording is to announce the winner of the Loving It All Challenge. Now, let's just take a little beat here and I know that a lot of people may not have had time to, for one, know that this would be live. I realized after the fact that the airing of this would be when it typically airs, but the actual recording would have to be a little bit before then. So some of you may not have been aware that this is live. So if you guys like this platform, me doing this live, let me know in the comments. And additionally, same goes for the Loving It All Challenge. If you guys want me to continue that challenge so that people can enter and I can give away all the free goodies, then give this a thumbs up. That way, even if it just gets 1 thumbs up, let's just say 2 or 3 thumbs up, but even if it just gets 1 thumbs up, I will know that you guys want to continue the challenge. And what I'll do, if this gets enough likes, shares, etc., and you guys mention that you want to keep the Loving It All Challenge, maybe this is your first time hearing of it. The Loving It All Challenge is a song that I'm looking for collaborators, creative people who want to express their talent, their raw talent, with my track that I made many moons ago. So if that's you, and if you are feeling like you don't know what this is, the description will take you to the song and you can listen to it there. Reach out via email if you want to enter the contest, or just tag me in whatever platform you have, just to let me know what you've done with the creative songs and how you want to collaborate in that way. But if you guys want to continue this challenge until, let's say, December, let's say the solstice, the winter solstice, which is the 21st of December, if you guys want to keep that challenge going, so that way everyone has an opportunity to join the challenge and contribute if they want to, please like this video, share it, leave a review, any of that. Reach out somehow. Let me know that you guys want to continue. Otherwise, this is where the challenge ends, and we're all winners. So kudos to everyone. And yes, we are moving right into this energy of love because to me, everything is love. Everything is love. Creativity is love. Heartbreak is love. Literally everything is love in one form or another. So we're going to dive further into that understanding as I know it of what love is. Now, as I've mentioned, these fruits of the Spirit are loosely based on sacred texts. So they're a sacred text that also gives a great definition of what love is. And I think that that's a great resource to look into, and I will leave that in the recommendation as well. Also, I realized that I put one of the incorrect videos in the last episode. I put the wrong, not necessarily the wrong, because I guess it happened, so I guess it must be right, but it was not what I had necessarily the video I wanted to have happen, but I guess the universe had other plans. So I will be putting that video that I wanted to tag on to the last episode in that recommendation section. I'll be putting it in this recommendation section, as well as the other video that's intended here. So thank you all for submitting your topic requests. That is an invitation for you to submit topic requests if you have a topic you'd like to hear, or if you would like to be a guest on the platform here, or maybe if you'd like me to collaborate with you on one of your platforms. It's always a pleasure, so I'd be grateful to do so, and grateful to have you on here as well. Now, so reach out if you have someone you want to nominate. That's awesome as well, and I'd be just again eager to work together. And another thing that really helps the channel grow, besides listening to these and sharing them and liking them, leaving reviews as well really helps. So I recently found an email that I had not responded to for many, many years ago. And I am always very grateful when you guys reach out. And I know it can be nerve-wracking, or it takes a lot to reach out, especially if you're a very private person. So I want to thank you all for the comments you leave, the emails you guys send. I definitely try to respond to them all. So if I don't respond, it's definitely not my intention not to. Sometimes just, as you may know, things just get busy, chaotic, all the kind of things that happen. So I thank y'all for being here, and I'm honored to have you guys here. As we move into this message about love, we are setting this banquet up of a meal that we're preparing as we're moving into a season of Thanksgiving. These 9 fruits of the Spirit will help nourish us, our mind, our body, our soul, our spirit. And I think the basis of it is love, which is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Now, it is said that everything else will pass, but the greatest is love. Love is what remains, because love is what we are. Love is where we come from. So to me, everything revolves around and returns back to love. There's a book by MaryJWanna called Return to Love. And it's where the infamous poem comes from of it is our light, not our darkness, that scares us the most. Because we are here to love and learn to love. And it's not just romantic love, it's platonic love, it's familial love. But ultimately, it's the spirit of love, which we all gravitate back to, and which we all are born from. As we incarnate and as we embody this human experience, we forget who we are. We forget where we come from. We forget what we're here for. And then those who want to continue that amnesia will pile on all the stresses of the world so that it takes you away from your God-given right of why you're here, your spirit, and what you're actually wanting to do here with your one beautiful life. And if we allow it, these distractions can really plague us and really take that seed of love and be replaced with the seed of fear. Now, fear is the opposite vibration of love. So you cannot be in fear and in love at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. And love requires courage. Love requires bravery. Love requires risk. And it's all worth it. And again, it's about honoring the spirit of love. So we have all forgotten ourselves and our way home. So as Ram Dass says, we're walking each other home. We're all walking each other home. And there's a quote by Rumi that I feel really sums it up. And this quote says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." I think through our traumas, our childhood, our everything, just the world in general, we can build those barriers to keep ourselves safe. But we're also keeping a lot of things out, including love, including the very thing that we might need the most, we are keeping out. So it's how can we see those barriers, let our walls fall, and let our guard down to actually embrace that love. Now, first and foremost, we cannot give what we do not have. So self-love, as painful as it may be, as irritating as it might be to say, why do I have to love myself? Everyone should just love and adore me. Yes, that should have been the blueprint from when you were born into this world. But a lot of us did not get that. And so it's not fair. It's not right. You should have been loved appropriately and properly the first time. But unfortunately, we're a world of broken people, wounded people who don't know what love is. And oftentimes our caregivers did not know what love was and did not love themselves either. So therefore, it's nearly impossible to give what you don't have. As Maya Angelou says, she's always skeptical of anyone who offers her a shirt who is shirtless. So as we continue this banquet here, the analogy I have for what love is, in my opinion, love, we've got our main course of patience, we've got our beverage, we've got our desserts, we have our toppings, and we have our vegetables. But what is all of that built on? Where are we placing all of these items? So to me, love is the tablecloth. Love is the tablecloth. Now, of course, you have to have a table first to even put a cloth on it. But boom, let that unfold. But nonetheless, love is the tablecloth. It's the foundation for which we build upon. And I think of love as the tablecloth because love requires effort. Someone has to set up the tablecloth. Someone has to set it up, right, for us to have this beautiful display. And it also is covering the foundation. So whether your foundation was shaky or solid, it does not matter. That tablecloth will cover any trespasses against you. That tablecloth will cover any betrayals. That tablecloth will cover any injustices. Because that love will hold it all together. That love will be greater than the past trauma you've gone through. That love will be a blanket to soothe you for the insecurities that we all have. That tablecloth of love will be the protection that we need and deserve. We don't deserve to have a bare table. We deserve to have a tablecloth, and that tablecloth is love. But it does require a little bit of effort. So you have to set up the tablecloth. And even before you set it up, you have to purchase it. Now, depending on how fancy you want to be, or depending on how much of an investment you can make or want to make, will depend on the type of tablecloth you have. You could have a really fancy tablecloth with diamonds on it and jade and pearls and all this extra stuff. Or you could just have a very basic, pure, just basic one color tone tablecloth. And guess what? That works just as efficient as the fancy tablecloth. So it really does not matter what type of tablecloth you have, whether it's made out of plastic, whether it's made out of, wool, or whatever other material tablecloth could be made out of. That's all great and dandy. But at the end of the day, it serves the same purpose. You're going to fold it up and put it away the same way anyone else would. So you don't have to compare your tablecloth to anyone else. You don't have to judge your tablecloth compared to anyone else. And you don't have to feel ashamed of your tablecloth. It is yours. But it is going to require your investment. It's something you have to pay for, something you have to commit to. You have to commit to investing in a tablecloth. in the same way you would in anything that you love. And at the same time, you will get what you pay for. So if you pay for a tablecloth that already has holes in it, guess what? I don't know who would be selling that, but it's not going to be the best type of tablecloth to have. So understand that you will get in what you put out. You'll get back what you put in. So if you invest really doing some research and finding a sturdy, vegan-friendly tablecloth, you're going to get back that same love. If you just buy a tablecloth because it's just, something you hate, and it's got all these fairies on it that you don't believe in, you're sending that message to yourself right back. So make sure it's something that you enjoy. You don't have to keep the same tradition of, well, this tablecloth has been in the family for this amount of times that we're all using this. If it brings you tears, if it brings you anger, if it brings you stress, you can put that tablecloth away, give it to someone else who may enjoy that, but you can find your own version of a tablecloth. Who knew that a tablecloth would be so meaningful? So understand that this is what covers the foundation. So when you start a relationship with yourself or with another, ask yourself, what am I willing to invest? And how much effort am I really willing to put into myself, my healing, my physical being, or in this job, or this creative outlet, or in this romantic investment, or partnership? I know it sounds really like a contract, and I guess in some ways everything is, but I don't mean it to be a contract agreement. It's more of just honoring what you can do and really being honest, measuring up to how much you can actually invest into this. Because I'm going to explain what love is not. And we have been conditioned to believe the things that love is not, that it actually is. So most of us have been modeled fear under the guise of love. Fear meaning we see relationships that are terrible. People don't actually love each other, care about each other, but they stay together for the kids or for one reason or another and call it love. So we have to understand, if that was our table that we're now trying to put the tablecloth over, we might want to start fresh and just completely scrap the whole thing. So we see a lot of fear, obligation, coercion, codependency, attachment, need, lack, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, all of those as reasons guised under the word love. Love is not codependent. So love is going to encourage you to be autonomous, meaning there may be things you have to go through alone, meaning you may have to embody that spirit of love that requires truth, requires being honest with oneself, requires having a full assessment of yourself, the light and the shadows. Love is not based in fear. Fear is the opposite vibration of love. So if you're afraid of the outcome, or you're afraid this person's going to cheat on you, or you're afraid of this and that, I'm not saying those fears aren't real and legitimate, but what I am going to say is to challenge those fears before even embarking on the journey of love. Because what will happen is that fear will taint any version of love. You'll see it only through projections. You'll see it only through your past trauma. You'll see it only through what you assume is going to happen. But when you heal that fear first, then you have the space, as Rumi says, to remove those barriers that are keeping love out. For people who are desperate for relationships, are they really trying to self-soothe a parental wound that was left from childhood? For those of us who need to be needed, is it really that we need to be needed, or are we trying to use someone else to fulfill a sense of validation for us, a sense of worthiness, a sense of feeling important, or chosen? All of those things can be barriers on the road to love, because love in its purest form needs no audience. It just is. And love is abundant. So it's not greedy. It's not, I need everyone's attention or I need multiple people worshiping me. That's actually usually based out of a feeling of not enough. So you want to heal those things first. And I'm not saying any of this to make anyone feel bashful or ashamed if they line up with these. We all line up with these. Present company included. We all line up with these. The matter of the fact is, how much will we love ourselves to heal these things? It's not going to be pretty. You might have to do some tedious work. You might have to do some reprogramming. You might have to dismantle your entire life. And you might have to go against what you thought was true. None of this is fun. None of this is pretty. None of this is widely talked about. What we tend to see is obsession, toxic possession, manipulation, control, and blackmail as seen as love. And of course, the list goes on beyond the very small pool I just pulled from. But we see a lot of quote unquote love based out of insecurity and based out of survival. We see a lot of people continue this rhetoric of find your other half, or she's my better half, or whatever the case is. We see a lot of manipulative language such as the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn it any way she wants. All that kind of stuff is only going to reap more of the same BS. Until we stop seeing each other as enemies, until we actually learn to love and to trust that love could be safe, could be kind, and could be consistent and reliable, and that we don't have to filter everything through our past or through what BS has been fed to us. And yes, people don't make it easy because they're running off these subconscious programs also. So the best thing to do is to heal and to find others who want to heal with you. You will always be the one who is either villainized or the one who is used if you're the one who's healing. If you're the one who's healing, others who don't want to heal, they will use and abuse you. If you're the one who's healing and others don't want to heal, they will villainize you every time. So what you have to do to protect your own well-being is find people who want to heal alongside you. Find people who are just as dedicated to healing. Find people who appreciate being called out for their BS. Find people who want to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. Find people who will actually not only say they're doing the work, but actually do the work by the felt action. Find people who apologize not as a way as to give lip service, but as an actual, I feel your pain and I'm going to do something about it. Find those kind of people to build your community with. And I'm going to pause here and say, if you want to be a part of the empire that I'm building, I'm starting it from the ground up. It's a great time to get on board. Don't be one of those bandwagoners once it's $1 million company. Hey, I always want to reach out. Okay, this is the time to reach out right here, right now. And there will always be people, once you quote unquote have a name for yourself, that will always, oh, I supported you from the jump. Okay, I appreciate that. Keep supporting me. So there are people who are creating this. There are people who are really about this life and who are about this change, because we are on the precipice of the change that is occurring. And things are going to start moving underground, but that's where every beautiful thing happens, is in the darkness. So if you want to get to the light, you have to be willing to go through the dark. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the shadow side of love. The shadow side of love is that the shadow side of love is grief. No way around it. If you want to love deeply or experience a deep love, profound love, you must be willing and able to experience and feel pain very deeply as well, because they're two sides of the same continuum. One does not exist without the other. So understand that the shadow side of love is grief. The deeper the love, equally the deeper the grief. But even in that grief, there is still love. It's very much like the yin yang sign. In that darkness, there is still light. Just as well as in that light, there is darkness. So it's a complementary energy. So that grief can actually be transformed into something beautiful. And as I've already mentioned, a lot of people use the improper use of love to hide their hidden agendas, to manipulate others, to lead people into obligation. If you love me, you'll do this. If you love me, you'll change. If you love me, fill in the blank. The question is not if someone else loves you. The question is always, do you love yourself? And the question to that other person is, do they love themselves? That will answer all of your questions, because someone who loves themselves will change without you having to even ask. If they're doing something that's unhealthy, that is. Sometimes you're asking someone to change something that would be vital for them in another connection or in another way. So it wouldn't be healthy for them to change for the sake of a situation. And the same goes for the person asking, well, if you love me, you'll do X, Y, Z. If you love yourself, you would do X, Y, Z. That might mean seeing reality for what it is and saying, is this an actual compatible situation for myself? Instead of asking someone else to change, why don't I ask myself the same question? And that's when love can really enrich and deepen and grow roots. And the other thing we see is obsession. We see toxic love mixed with fear, and it comes from a place of lack and need. You see someone stalking you and you think, oh, that's so adorable. No, it is not. That is a red flag. You see someone pestering you after you told them, leave me alone, and they continue. Oh, someone else might say, oh my goodness, that person's being so persistent. They must really love you. No, actually, they're being obsessive and abusive and toxic. So understand that obsession is not love. Love is about appreciation. So if someone says, these are my boundaries, these are my standards, these are my set tone, and someone does not appreciate them, but yet they bulldoze over them, or they continue in their own assessment of what they think you need, that is not love. Loving someone in a way that they don't receive love is not love. Love is about appreciation, not possession. And that's where a lot of people get confused. Oh, well, this person is jealous because I talked to this person here. Again, not something to be flattered over. That's something to really go, okay, why is this person's insecurity being triggered? Yes, maybe they have a history of trust and betrayal. Again, it's important to work on those things, whether in a connection or outside of one. But possession, it's not cute. It's not healthy. These toxic individuals that'll say, she's mine, he's mine, no one else can have this person. Well, that person has their own life and their own decisions and their own free will. So actually, let's rewire that. Let's change that narrative. So understand, if you love a flower, you will water it. But if you only like a flower, you will pluck it. You will pluck it from its entire being. You will pluck it from what it could be on its own. You will pluck it from the ground that is being sustained by. That's not love. That is, at best, abuse. At best. Obsession, not love. So, what is love? Love is reassuring. Love is watering a connection. Love is saying, I may not understand, but I'm willing to learn. Love is saying, I want to hear about your past, not to use it against you, but to love you even more. Love is saying, I take you as a part of myself, knowing that if I hurt you, I'm going to fundamentally hurt myself. So I'm going to do everything in my power to learn what hurts you and what doesn't. And if there's a need that I can meet, I'm going to. Because not only do I love the person or the situation or the thing or the animal, but I also love myself. And that's what I would give to myself. So understand, love, as we've seen it in the movies and Hollywood and fiction and all of these other unhealthy ways. It's one of the most abusive things to use is love, because everyone craves love. Everyone needs love. So that's one of the most powerful tools to keep people enmeshed, to keep people abused and staying in abusive relationships. Oh, but I just love them. Great, you can. But understand that love does not enable toxic behaviors. Love is not going to enable abuse or toxicity. No matter how much you love someone, you have to also love yourself to say, that's not going to fly. That's not okay. I respect myself and love myself too much to be around abuse, whether people see it as abuse or not. If it is abusive to you, therefore it is abuse. And love does not rescue. As cliche as it is, oh, the knight in shiny prince just rescued the damsel in distress. No, you have to first rescue yourself. I know it's not glamorous to actually face that. And that's the one thing I really appreciate about the Star Wars saga and series and collection, is that the princesses were not waiting to be rescued. They're out there blazing glory themselves. They're out there like, we don't need anybody. And to me, that's when the most powerful power couples embark on the best journey. When it's not based on I need you, it's based on I choose you. It's based on I want you. Not that I need you. I'm good either way, but you're more than welcome to join. And if not, that's fine too, because need implies lack. Need implies lack, meaning you can't go on with or without this. I just saw a quote that said, love is not about finding someone you can live with, but finding someone you can't live without. It's not about the need that you absolutely need them. It's that you want them, you choose them. And I love that about Star Wars, that they showed women, princesses, who were so powerful. They didn't need to be rescued, because rescue puts a power dynamic in the situation. Now you feel obligated. Now you feel like you owe someone. Now that's always in the back of your mind that they're going to always be there to rescue you. They may not always be able to be there. And then when they don't, or when they can't, to hold bitterness against them. That's one form of it, right? But understand, love doesn't need to be rescued. It will give you the tools to rescue yourself. And love also doesn't enable poor behavior. Now, as I mentioned, we are gearing up for the season of Thanksgiving. So we may be around relative groups, family dynamics, etc. And a lot of times in families, what you see is enablement. Let's not talk about that person's alcoholic behavior. Let's not talk about this couple's, marriage problems. Let's not talk about the kids who are bad as hell. Let's enable and continue to put these smiles on as if everything is okay, and not talk about the real. Often those type of dynamics have enabling built into them. So it doesn't make it a foster for love to exist, because love is going to tell you about yourself. Think about it. We all may have had those friends who, in our unhealed version, we have all the friends in the world, and those friends will encourage us to do toxic things, to be our worst versions of ourselves. But those friends don't really love you the way that a friend that challenges you does. A friend that really loves you is not going to be okay with you settling. It's not going to be okay with you living anything less than your best. It's not going to be okay with watching you hurt and suffer. A true friend is also going to tell you about yourself and tell you where you've been incorrect, or tell you where you can heal and grow. They're not going to enable your poor behaviors either. Now, if you're resistant or avoidant to healing or growth, that friend is probably going to be the first friend to go from the friend group. I don't like that friend. I don't know. I don't like them. That's usually me. I'm usually the friend that's like, you make everyone uncomfortable with your truth. You make everyone cringe a little bit. You bring so much dysfunction. Ooh, we need to get rid of you. And I'm just like, cool. I'll go stand over here then. So understand, if you're that friend, it's not you. It's never been you. Your truth just provokes people to face inadequacies and lies that they don't want to experience. I'm sure you know that by now, but just a reminder. I know it can be painful when you feel that rejection if you're that friend who's constantly outcast from the group because you might be in a group that doesn't want to heal. And that's when the hermit's journey begins, because then you will find others who do want to heal. And if that's you, drop something in the comments. Let's be friends. Let's all be friends of healers and misfits. So understand that healing is always available. Now, so if you are someone who wants to start that healing journey, I do offer donation-based service counseling. It's more of a healing journey. It's not counseling per se. It's a spiritual embodiment of healing. But because my background is in counseling, it does take the form of therapy without traditional therapy being modeled. It's really about holding the space for you to process and for you to become your greatest version. So understand that love is also a verb. Love requires action. You can say all the things you want to say. Oh, but I just love that person. Oh, I just love that type of work. Oh, I just love playing with these children here, whatever the case is. But your action will always speak louder than your words. So you might be saying that in front of a great applause. You might be saying all of that. But what is the actual action? Do you really love playing with those children when you have to clean up after them? When they've got snot-filled Legos on the ground, do you still love them? Do you love all of that too? It's like really getting down to the nitty-gritty. You say, oh, I love this person so much. But as soon as they ask you to help out, what is your first response? These are just lucid examples. These are just random off the cuff here. So I'm not saying this is anyone's story, but if it is, again, no intrusion here needed or wanted or intended. That's the word. But understand that love requires action. A lot of people will say, oh, I would do anything for that person. They'll do anything except go to therapy. They'll do anything except face their own shadow. They'll do anything except for sell their possessions. All of these different things that really get tested when it's time for love to be in action. And again, love is something to really foster and to really practice, to really make that honest commitment. Can I put these words into action? If so, go for it. If not, just sit on the bench for a minute. Just chill. Because love is going to require truth. It requires courage. And it requires seeing things that are painful. And truth, as they say, will set you free, but it will piss you off initially. So yes, you may be angry to feel the pain that you've caused others and to hear the truth. But the love is going to surrender it in a way that you can feel it. With love, there is no room for doubt. There's only room for trust. And when you have that self-love and that self-trust, it doesn't matter who's trying to quote unquote play you. It doesn't matter who's trying to run game on you, because you'll see through it, for one. And for two, your trust is not put into anyone or anything else. It is put where it belongs, in the spirit of love. As they say, God is love. So if you are operating in love, you are operating with your divinity. And that's what we're here to do. So let love guide you and not fear. And really get clarity on what is fear and what is love. What is the projection of fear? You might think you're being loving, or you might be telling yourself you're being loving, but deep down you kind of know, maybe not. Maybe there's something off here. Maybe there's more to see here. Maybe you don't have the whole story. Maybe whatever the case is. But that's the other part of it. Love doesn't need to overthink. Love doesn't need to overthink. It just trusts. You don't have to overthink the love that is presented to you and the love that you're receiving from yourself. Because the more you receive and the more you make room for love to have a seat at the table, the less room there is for doubt, or distrust, or overthinking. So we've set the table here. We've set the table for love with our tablecloth here. And the other thing that happens, I notice, is we usually do, most of the time, I'll say, from the family gatherings I've seen and the relative gatherings I've been to, we do tend to thank the cooks, right? We may thank those who prepared the meal for us that we're about to have, as we have our 9 fruits of the Spirit laid out on the table here, on that tablecloth of love, that is. But rarely do we say thank you to those who stay and clean up afterwards. Who's going to put up the tablecloth after it's been dirtied? Who's going to break down the table and take out the trash and do all of the fun things that everyone else has now left as a burden upon you? And that's kind of the other thing I was thinking about with love. And I know that some people have had very different experiences with love and just the variety of upbringings we all can have. So during this holiday season, if you have to go to more than one house for one reason or another, maybe your parents are separated, divorced, etc., or maybe you just have a lot of people that you have to see, thank those who make the food, but also thank those who stay and clean up afterwards. And maybe volunteer to be one of those people. Because something I was thinking about with love, and I was thinking about how it doesn't enable bad behavior. A lot of times, if we come from a household of 2 parents, there's usually one parent, and you'll see this all through media too, not just with parenting, but also the good cop, bad cop, all that kind of stuff. You'll see one who's the fun parent. And then you'll see one who's the strict parent. And oftentimes, the strict parent is the one who is villainized. The strict parent is the one who is seen as the villain because they don't let you get away with anything. And the fun parent is the one that'll let you have candy before dinner. They're the one that lets you stay up late. They're the ones that gives you a little bit of alcohol when you're underage and, kind of, keep that here, you know what I mean? It's good. They don't place any demands on you and they give into all of yours. That's the fun parent. But the strict parent, they're putting your ass to bed on time. They're not letting you ruin your appetite before you have dinner. They're not letting you stay up till the wee hours of the morning when you have school the next day, because they love you enough to say your rest is important. And right now your priority is getting good grades, or at least going to school. So they will set those boundaries. And oftentimes the fun parent is the one who's adored. The fun parent is the one who is maybe chosen for more outings or seen as the one who was understanding. But there's a real thin line between that, because underneath that, oftentimes what you'll see is the quote unquote fun parent is also the parent who is emotionally immature. They also may have narcissistic tendencies or be a full-blown narcissist themselves. And they may use their children for validation because they're deeply wounded and insecure. And so they don't know how to emotionally regulate you or set boundaries because they have none themselves. And so often what I've noticed is the fun parent may be the one who's going to events or whatever you have it. And the quote unquote strict parent is the one who's at home, maybe the one who's in bed, or the one who's doing all the chores, or whatever the case is. But that parent is usually, sometimes at least, coming from a place of love. That's the assumption. Now, of course, this parent could also have all the same traits as the fun parent. It could be more covert. It could be more under the guise of, oh, I have to be the strict one. But they could secretly have the same exact traits. just inverted in a very different way. So I'm not saying either or. All I'm noticing is that that pattern tends to foster itself where the parent who may be trying to set good, healthy tones and nervous regulation systems and prioritizing wealth and health and wellness may be the one who is villainized because their motives aren't understood, you know. But again, that's two sides to every story for that. So I mention that because I know that the holiday season's coming up, and that can be a time of great joy. It also can be a time of great sorrow. It also can be a time of great stress for all involved, for everyone. And oftentimes there's that one person who comes over and they're the fun one, you know, but they don't help out clean anything. They don't help out cook anything. They don't do any of the hard work that the other loving people may be doing behind the scenes, but they're the ones who get all the time. They're the ones who get all the attention. They're the ones who are seen as the cool person, you know. But what are they doing that's so cool? Most of the time it's destructive. But most of the time those are the children who gravitate towards that is because it plays right into, they're both children. It plays right into, you don't put any demands on me, so you must love me, instead of realizing the exact opposite. Those who love you, just like that friend, they're not going to let you destroy yourself. They're going to hold you accountable to certain things. And they're going to tell you when you're making mistakes or when you're wrong. And it's not to hurt you, but it is to enlighten you. So I'm going to leave this poem that I wrote here. I haven't read it since I wrote it, but I'm going to read it through. It's just kind of thoughts that I had as I was thinking about what is love and how to describe it. You are never far from me. I am always with you. Where you go, I follow. And when you hide, you are also found. For I will never leave you nor forsake you. My word is good. You can trust in me. For my word is true. What I look for, I found in you. When you search for me, just look within. I am there with you. In the silence, in the stillness, through the wind. Embrace me, and I will never let you go. Abandon me, and I will never let you go. Go ahead. You know where to find me. I will be there when all else fails. Be well. Take care. Until next time.